sun has come out now, which is pretty much baking, and he was fast asleep, but I think he's getting too hot, so I wouldn't be surprised he does begin to start moving again and maybe tries to find himself a little bit of shade to go and rest in. But now that we've kind of pulled up alongside of him, you can see that he's starting to show signs of age quite heavily. His body is not looking what it used to, so from the front he looks quite good, but if you look on his hips there, you can see that there's a lot of atrophy of that muscle and that he's lost a lot of weight since the last time I saw him, and he's starting to look a little older and skinnier than he's looked before. So it's not really nice when you see that, but at the end of the day he has had a long innings, and it is a good age for a male leopard, so you can't grumble too much. And well, it also could change. He could get himself 3 or 4 impalas in a row and he'll be absolutely fine again for another couple of months. So hopefully that will be the case, but he's definitely a lot skinnier than the last time I saw him. He's dropped a lot of weight, particularly on those back legs area, and I'll be interested to see when he stands up whether or not he's very skinny or if it's just kind of a angle that he's sitting that's making it look worse than it actually is. But I surmise that he's a little skinnier than we actually think. Either way though, he's still got a massive set of shoulders and neck on him. He's still a beautiful cat, and I was talking to VM now about his right ear area. It looks as though he's been looking for warthog piglets again. Mvula used to love warthog piglets. He used to go after them regularly. And he's got lots of dust around the back side of his ears and his neck area. You can see it's all dirty in that section. So he's managed to somehow shove his head into some hole somewhere looking for some sort of food item. Like I say, he also goes after porcupines a lot. I've seen him going after aardvarks and various other creatures that live inside these mounds and burrows. It's not a uncommon thing to watch him do it, and even his tail looks all dusty as well. He's got kind of, the black is all covered in grey dust, so I don't know what he's been doing or where he's been up to, but it seems as though he's had some sort of fun diving into a hole somewhere. Now, like I say, I'm pretty sure he's getting hot. You can see his breathing has changed as well. He's starting to pant a little bit now. Mouth is open. He's kind of trying to just cool that body down a bit, and the sun is really blazing onto him full steam ahead. And so I think if he's going to move, it will be shortly. I'm pretty certain that he's going to try and find some shade somewhere. I doubt that he's just going to lie right out in the sun. It's never the most pleasant thing to do, but look at those beautiful eyes in this afternoon light. He still has incredible eyes, even though he's an older individual. His eyes are mesmerizing. They kind of that light color, much lighter than most of the other leopards that we see out here. And his lineage is kind of quite long. There's a few males that share the same traits that he's got, and it's why Tumba always is a bit of an enigma to me, because theoretically Mvula didn't mate with Thandi at that period, so that when Tumba was born, but Tumba has so many traits of Mvula, it's scary. He's got the big ears, he's got the light colored eyes, and his general shape of his face is very similar to that of Mvula and that of a lot of Mvula's offspring. So if you compare Tumba to Wabayiza and to Bahuti and some of the others, they all look very similar. So you see he's going to yawn now, and that's often a sign that he might stand up and go. You'll also notice he's got a broken right canine. Now that's been like that for many months. It's the first time I noticed it was right at the beginning of the year, but there we go, up he gets, and I'm pretty sure he's going to try and find himself some shade. So he is a little skinny. You can see he's not as bad as I actually thought when he was lying down. I thought he would be a lot skinnier than that, but he's got 1 or 2 little wounds on him, which is not ideal. He's got like a little cut on him. Are you going to lie right in front of the car? I can't even see him. He's somewhere in that section over there. Now, is he going to drink maybe? I'm not sure. I'm trying to just lean out the car to try and see. Hopefully I don't fall. The last time we did that, we had a bit of an issue, but at least VM can see him now. I just want him to see if he's going to settle before I reposition myself, but it looks as though he might decide to go and have a little bit of a drink of water. There's also a nice shady section under one of these trees, and so maybe that's where he's headed. But let's see, maybe if we just go back slightly, Vildi. So you can see he's been around vehicles for quite some time, has Mvula, and so it doesn't really stress him too much for us to kind of move a little bit. But I just want to try and give him a bit of space. It's never comfortable to be that close to a leopard, and especially when there's a little bit of shade that he's trying to find. You can see he's lying right next to some water. Right, now that he's down properly, now I can reposition nicely and we can get a better view of him. So we're just going to turn the car a little bit. There we go, Vim. That will be a lot easier. So he's found himself a small sliver of shade just on the edge of a mud wallow, and you can see why it's so tough to find leopards at the moment at this time of the year. We struggle a lot more because if you look how much water is in the bush here, and we were talking about it just now with Vim, is that there's very little sign of his tracks on the road, and so if you miss the tracks and he walks into a section like this, because of how dense it is and the fact that there is water here, it's going to make it really very difficult, to find him. You'd have to try and kind of find mud wallow to mud wallow, but he's definitely on the skinnier side, and that's very kind of him to have walked the way he did, to go and have a drink of water, because he's now given us a beautiful view of him lapping up that nice cool water from the side. Shame boy, are you hot? Yes, not surprised. He lay in the sun for quite some time before he decided to get up and move, and maybe in his younger days have moved a lot quicker, but when they're older like this, they do sometimes just sit and take it easy for a longer period, and then that body temperature goes up quite drastically, and they then have to obviously try and cool down. So water is great for him, and a little bit of shade there to drink from as well, which is perfect. So I'm pretty sure he's going to have a nice long drink before he'll flop down in the shade again and wait for it to get a bit cooler before he starts to try and look for a meal. He definitely will be looking for a meal at some point. Now if you look just above his left front leg, you'll see that there is a bit of a wound that is just on there. It's not a very big one, but right there in the middle there's a little kind of cut that's on that area. Now I believe my comms are not working, which is very true here, so we'll try and sort that out quickly. Let's have a look. Hold on, Louise, we have a pulled out earpiece. There we go. Now we're back in comms, so Louise can start talking to us again, which will be good. So he's probably going to find himself that shady section there, and he's going to lie down, I would imagine. It's a perfect spot for him to go. There we go, Louise, I can hear you now. Sorry, my earpiece pulled out when we repositioned the car, so that's why I couldn't hear you. First Lady Shah, you're wondering if Tingana knows that Mvula is hanging around. In all likely, probably he does know that there are males around. Whether he knows it's Mvula, I'm not quite sure. Tingana will know that there's pressure on him at the moment from multiple different males. He's got issues with this young male that's around. He's got a situation where he's got, Mvula, there's quarantine, there's Fasana, there's Tamba, so it's not just Mvula that's around, and Tingana knows that, so he's going to be moving around quite a lot to try and sort of figure out who it is and try and push them out. The thing about Mvula is he's very clever, is that he doesn't scent mark, he doesn't vocalize, he doesn't cause any kind of stir that would attract Tingana to that area and cause him to try and kind of chase after him. So he's clever in that he just sort of is like a ghost, and he just moves around in here without trying to attract too much attention to himself. But definitely if Tingana walked down the road now, he would have picked up Mvula's scent and then followed it to try and see where he is. But he's found himself a nice little shady spot. I don't think he's going to be up for much longer. I think he's probably going to go crashing down for a little nap, but I'll try and reposition to see if I can get a better view of him and exactly where he's sort of lying down. Hopefully we'll be able to see him nice and clearly. While I do that, and while I find a better spot to sit, let's go back across to Steve, who is taking a leaf out of Steph's book and he seems to be admiring some big tall trees.